Welcome to Super Meat World. Into this update, we're finally tackling the mother of impossible chapters, Expert Remakes. Oh yay, we don't have to do it because we didn't find it, right? Right? Are you really sure? Okay, fine, I guess I'll play it then. So, Expert Remakes was made by Team Meat, and as the title implies, it's a remake of many of the game's original levels, but they were remade in the intent to make them 1,000,000 times more harder. For those of you who wanted their extra hard version of level 1-1, you finally got it into this one chapter. Yeah, for the information, I'm gonna include the level that the level was inspired by and is redoing, just in order to not repeat myself over and over again at the beginning of every single level. You see the number in parentheses, this is the level which is being redone. So, Expert Remakes really doesn't do any kind of discrimination about the levels that it picks in order to recreate in an extra hard form. It will pick either very easy level, and it will also pick levels that will pretty much make you shiver just thinking about how they will have redone this in order to make it even harder than it originally was. In fact, even the starting area of this level is a doozy because the saw launcher up there shoots so fast. In fact, you have to be really fast about everything here. You do not have the time to slack off around any of this. In fact, this is the only safe spot of the entire level. Okay, or maybe the beginning here, but other than that, you really cannot stay around any place for too long because otherwise you will die. Also, when this chapter was uploaded onto the PC, it was impossible to beat this level because there was a block at the place where I was standing. Just a plain old ordinary block that you couldn't bust through, there was no workaround, and you couldn't complete the level at all. Hello uploading errors, how are you doing today? There are just so many signs that point that most of the time level uploading on Super Meat World was really rushed by Team Meat. There's many misspelled level names, there is this glitch into this one level, and oh, speaking of misspelled level names, come on, regerts. Into this line of work, you need rigor and not regerts. And don't even get me started about this thing which is called regrets. But other than the before-mentioned bug, level 2 is really good. I mean, these are levels like these that really make me enjoy Expert Remakes at times, but there are other levels which will simply make me hate it. And say hello to Crash number 2. Thankfully, you've seen every single death that there was onto this one level. I am not a huge fan of the way that this level is being shaped because I'm always tricked by the little gaps onto the floor. I always keep thinking that some of these are holes because later on the level you can fall through the holes because they're wider, but here they're pretty much just decoration. But there are times where there are blocks like these and whenever you try to jump on them it won't always work, but thankfully you cannot jump here, so it's not as if it's a huge deal. The thing which I don't always enjoy about this one chapter is... okay, even into this version of the level still glitches out in the end because there's more than one bandage girl into the map. Alright, let's remove a whole bunch of the platforms into the one level in order to make it challenging. In fact, it doesn't really work because I find that this is probably the easiest level of the entire chapter. It really doesn't make the level that much harder in the end. As long as you land onto the proper places into the wall and you're quick to wall jump, you won't have too much problem here. Oh, this one level is a pain in the ass. This level certainly is a whole lot harder than the previous one, if only because of this part. This one jump at the ending of the level is what kills me every single time. It has to be overly precise as it can be. If you jump too early or too late, you will simply not make it. You won't make it back to the wall in time in order to do wall jump in order to continue your ascension upwards, or you'll also jump too late and simply bang your head onto the lock gate and you will plummet down to your doom. And then you also have to get to the end of this level. It's not the hardest part of the level, but it can still take you off by surprise. At least Edmund was kind enough to put an arrow showing you where the platform is, because up there's no way that you'll find out where to land. So it's a good touch. Thank you for allowing that, because otherwise the ending of this level would have been trial and error bullshit. The hospital meets the end. Because honestly, the only way to take an hospital level and make it harder is to make it about 5 or 6 times longer. This is one level which is really hard to beat because you have to be constantly alert and thus for a very long amount of time, because this level will take some time in order to beat and there's an avalanche of saw blades wherever you go. Your best approach for getting this key here is to rush in and just get out before they can shoot. Don't try to dodge them while you're into the shaft because it simply doesn't work. Don't even try it because it will result in failure. Hopefully we'll get a good enough example of what it is to just stand here. Here we go! This is why you don't do what I've just done. Just rush in and your entire victory will be assured. Okay, I guess that rushing can only get you so far, but be also careful of this. Yeah, you can die onto the saw blade launcher because it's not properly tucked in into the wall, just in order to make things even harder than they need to be. I mean, the level really doesn't get any easier or harder as you go through it. The difficulty through it stays constant through the entire run, and therefore, dying in almost any part of this level can be frustrating. Alright, I'm ready to head for the exit! Oh my god, what a stupid death. I really should be more careful. What did I just say about being more careful already? You better get used to that because we'll see that a lot into this chapter. Dying in a really stupid way at the ending of a level just as you thought that the coast was clear. This chapter is pretty much all about breaking your heart in the most absurd way possible, and not even because of the level design, because of your own undoing. Oh, and you'll also die of legitimate reason, not always stupid reasons. Any single death into this one chapter will be acceptable because they will all be warranted. I don't even want to count the number of times that I probably died making my way through this chapter the first time. In fact, I've never played this chapter in a single sitting before recording it now. I usually will take several days in order to beat it because at one point during the playing of the chapter, I will just be fed up or pissed off at the chapter and I simply won't want to carry on anymore. So, I am here in order to demand satisfaction from this chapter. Okay, or maybe I won't if I'm playing the way I do. You cannot start playing the level right away because you will die to the lasers without any failing. And this is the disgusting part of the stage. This tiny jump that you have to do in order to... Okay, I mean this tiny jump that you have to do at the top of this level. Yeah, this thing requires the most absurd timing ever. Jump a fraction of a second too early and you'll die. I mean, the laser just turned off as soon as I landed on it. Dog. And with that, let's contribute to the counter of exasperated groans. Yeah, you have to hold on to this jump as late as you can. Okay, not that late, but you get the picture. And it's even more grueling considering that you have to do it twice in order to beat the level. Just because, well, this is one of the trends that this chapter will set. Backtracking, a whole lot of it will be required through this one chapter. We didn't really see it too much yet, but this is the point where it will start showing up a whole lot during this chapter. And this jump over the laser at the top gets even more ridiculous because other than that, the rest of the level is really easy. It's just that one jump which is really hard to pull off properly. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I didn't like 36X, and well, this level manages to be even more obnoxious. So congratulations, you are the winner of our sweepstake. I just can't shake off the feeling that this level is almost all about memorization. Your average person out there simply won't have the reflexes to jump out of the way in order to dodge all of these things. Don't ask me how it even took me that few tries in order to pull it off. I really have no clue. More so considering that this is not a level that I particularly know well, so I've just been really lucky. At least the ending with the soaring birds is worth the trouble that you're going through in order to beat this level. I like birds. This is one of the levels in Expert Remakes that I really care about the least. There's just many levels into the chapter which involve being chased by something, and from all of them, this is probably the least memorable and the least interesting of them all. The ending and overhaul is especially really meaning. Jumping over that many small saw blades into one hallway is not really making the level harder, it's just making it even more dickish. This level wins the award of being the weirdest level in the entire chapter. It's just a pretty strange level in overall, and every single time I play through it, I keep forgetting what you need to do in order to beat it. Most of it is exactly like 311X, but you've seen that the ending was at the outer edge of this level, so yeah, in order to unlock the way to Bandage Girl, you have to go all the way back here. But you have to wait because the saw blades will be coming around here, so you need to set the chase for the third and oh my god. Usually you don't have too much problem sliding into this one corridor here, but the game decided otherwise for this one time, because the engine is the most unpredictable thing in the world. That and the game will run differently depending on your frames per second, which is a really weird thing to do. Okay, maybe not on consoles, but on the PC it is, considering the many outer sources that there can be for slowdown or hiccups or anything. So your second route to this stage will change because there is now a whole onslaught of obstacles which are blocking the way which was otherwise accessible earlier. Moving platforms, saw blades, and everything else is now available in order to block your path. All of these things make this level slightly hazardous to speedrun through because, well, you can simply jump over the saw blades right at the beginning by using a wall jump at the rightmost wall in the opening area, but it's really risky given the nature of this level. Oh, and this level is a lot harder. There's no room for error anywhere into this one level. The opening jumps are really narrow and you're in an even stricter time limit because the acid or lava or whatever it is supposed to be rises a lot faster. There's no way that you'll make it through this level while being a slouch. This level just further exemplifies what Expert Remix is all about, making it so that the most trivial thing that you have to do into the chapter requires a lot of effort to do. And finally, the rising level can be source of many dickish moments. Here we go, we're done! Are you kidding me? The level went out of its way to disappear on the bottom of the screen just to rise all the way up to the one platform, just because I jumped too high at the last jump. This is a huge dick move. But then again, this is Expert Remix, not... Okay, it's slightly a little harder than it used to be, but just a little bit more, but not too much, Remix. And with that said, I do not have any more eyeballs. Thank you and good night, because I cannot comment onto this one video anymore, because I cannot see anything. Ugh. I think from all Team Meat levels, this is the ugliest one in the bunch. It's just this huge contrast between the white and the black, and finally all of the little meats which are supplied at the side of your screen just in order to torment you for some reason. They are here in order to watch you miserably fail this level over and over again, because this is what you will be doing. You thought that level 48X was not hard enough? Well, how about getting to the place where the bandage is every single time? You had even more fireballs than usual, and finally you also have to backtrack through the entire level in order to reach the end. Make no mistake, the backtracking is the easiest part of this level, but getting up there is so much of a challenge that by the end of it all, whenever you'll be backtracking, your nerves will simply be shot all the way to hell. Oh, and while you're into this one part of the level, don't hesitate, because this means even more opportunities to be pelted by fireballs, and you simply won't stand for that, won't you? Into these sections, you're not afforded to waste any kind of time, because you're a sitting duck, and dodging all of these fireballs is a really hard task. Make sure that you know all about those safe spots, they will save your life. It doesn't look as if you can duck underneath this one fireball, the second one at the bottom, but you can. And this fireball looks more intimidating than it actually is. Just don't dilly-dally and you'll be fine. Oh, and after all these troubles, don't take a fireball in the face while you're making your way down here again. Oh no you don't. Yeah, just wait here around a whole lot, just make sure that there are no obstacles into the way, and here we go, the backtracking is really easy. It's a sweet relief that this level went by really quick, considering how long it took me to first beat this level. And to make matters even more hilarious, the first time that I've beat this level after hours of trying, well, the game crashed, so how about that? Even though in the end it's not really a huge deal, because as you probably all know already, Super Meat World doesn't save anything, so you're losing nothing whenever you crash. Well, you're losing nothing except the replay of your numerous attempts at clearing a level that ultimately all went into the toilet. This level is just trying to show me that relying on muscle memory alone is a bad thing. Whenever I'm deviating from the original plan that I have for this level, I just start doing everything in order to pretty much endanger my way through this level. Also, talk about expert remakes. They barely changed this level at all. They just added a key where the exit is and they make you backtrack all the way to the start in order to clear this level. Oh, and mind the lasers at the end too. They can surround you if you're not careful enough with your way of approaching this one area. So, this level really doesn't feel that harder from the original level that it's based on. In fact, they barely change anything, so how does it qualify as being harder? Just the backtracking, or? Bleh. I never really liked the original level, and I really don't know why they chose this of all levels into the one chapter in order to make a harder version of it, which in the end is not even that harder. Hell, it's just the light world and dark world version of the level summed up into one single level. I think that from all of the levels into the chapter, this is one of my favorite remakes. I normally don't like gravity orbs that much, but into this one level, I really like the way that they're used because you have to pull off brand new stunts in order to make it through this level. Yeah, instead of using the gravity orbs to rise up, you have to use them in order to go down. Also, if the designer wanted to be a real dickhead, he could have put a saw blade at the bottom of this final gravity orb just before the key, but thankfully he didn't, so at least I gotta upload him on that. This is a really hard and nasty level because it's really hard to time your rising and falling through the gravity orb correctly in order to soar all the way down here in order to get the key, but at least I gotta appreciate the way that it's done. And for the most part, this is a level that feels as fair and justified as most of the levels into the one game, so this is why it's one of my favorite levels into this one chapter. Also, this is one of the things which is nicer into this one level, because contrary to a lot of expert remixes which only tweak with the original level layout and don't really change anything, the final part is almost entirely new from the original level. You will recognize the final part of the tower because you will have seen this into the original level, but other than that, it's all new. Oh my god, return of the untimely death, which you never wanted to happen. Yeah, just die at the very last obstacle of the level. It's a riot. Try it, you'll love it. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Dying at the very last obstacle into such a long and grueling level is just a recipe of pissing you off perfectly. Also, holy shit, did I die on every single obstacle in the level or what? Because almost all of the saw blades are red. Well, you gotta satisfy the saw blade gods. They're always hungry. But yeah, this final part is the hardest part of the level though. Well, after having made a clever remake where they changed a whole lot of things and it made things seem like they were a legitimately new level, well, how about having one of the laziest remakes of the entire chapter? Yeah, it's the same level but without an elevator. And as long as you start dropping at the beginning of the level, you will never have any trouble with this one level. Oh, and welcome to Lazy Remake Chapter 2, the conclusion of the Son of the Remake. I'm pretty sure that you could count on one hand the changes which have been made onto this one level. They barely changed this level at all. You have to backtrack to this one level. They change almost nothing. In fact, it's almost the same thing as the light world version of this level. Okay, they put a platform here, and I'm pretty sure this is the only thing that they have changed, with the exception of the goal, which is back at the start. Hooray for unnecessary backtracking, which made it so that the level was not even harder. I mean, what the hell? Why did they even make this level? Okay, where the hell am I? Okay, here I am. I'm just a tiny red dot onto the screen now because the entire level is being zoomed out. And no, this is not a glitch. The camera is zoomed out mainly for one section of the level, and you'll know about it whenever we'll get to it. In fact, you can probably already guess which one it is because, well, you can already see the entire level. But yeah, alongside the 5-4 remake, this is also one of my favorite levels into the chapter. They've taken the hand level and they've cranked up the difficulty in a pretty interesting way, and also you've got this leap of faith! And that's why the camera is zoomed all the way back here, in order to see where you're landing. The jumps are a whole lot trickier because almost everything needs a whole lot of precision and timing because of the slow-moving saw blades, which can ruin your day in a jiffy. They are the biggest threat that this level has to offer. Other than that, most of the level should be manageable enough. And we are done being a microscopic meat investigator. So let's see what's left on the agenda. I mean, there is still Cotton Alley, which we have yet to see a remake of, but what else could there be a remake of? Okay, so I guess this is a two-step remake. The first part of this level is exactly the same thing than the original level. I really don't think they've changed anything, but here, this is the part which is entirely new. You might remember how to deal with the jumps on the top portion, but the bottom portion has really narrow jumps that require extreme precision in order to make it through them. Really nasty stuff. I'm generally not a fan of levels that put the hardest part of the level right at the end because this usually just makes the level more frustrating because you have to play through all sorts of really easy parts first, and then finally you can retry the thing which usually kills you all of the time. At least it's fun enough to play, so I guess it deserves an acceptable score. Le plat du jour, mesdames et messieurs. So, you thought that the first kid level was not hard enough? Well, how about doing it with Meat Boy? That means no double jump, no better control because of it, and basically you need to be a master of hair controlling and jumping in order to be able to pull off everything. You have to start accelerating and moving horizontally at the very exact timing here in order to succeed. This is a level that usually takes people ages to beat. Okay, maybe into this one case it didn't happen, but hey, whenever you're playing a hard level, you always gotta strive to make it as painless as possible by finishing it really fast. Just in case you couldn't guess, I didn't do any editing onto this one level, so it was all raw footage. Yeah, I hate to brag, but it had to be done onto this one level. And that's it for Expert Remakes! We made it, and the number of deaths are pretty acceptable considering how hard this chapter is. In fact, I died even less than on Starlight, so that's an accomplishment, I guess. Coming up next, the mountain of your dreams, or your nightmares. Unholy Mountain by 2 Hacks.